flight area back here. The small muscles tend to be more loose, which doesn't help you either. You're too loose. So you got big muscles that are overly ready, and the small muscles that are loose. So that's all stress, and stress can be positive or negative. So we work on how you talk to yourself because it really has an impact on what your body actually does. You can only pay attention consciously to about 7 plus or minus things, 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information. Everything else is not in your consciousness. I mean, we play this game too. All of you here are not probably aware of the pressure of your foot on the floor right now. But you are now, right? Like as I talk, when I bring your attention to that, now you're aware of that. The language, if you talk negative, so we correct this initially of getting rid of the garbage in your self-talk. You know, that was really stupid. What an idiot I am. You know, that kind of talk. Or how could I be so stupid? Or look at these guys, they're so good. You know, these are all pros. They've been on the tour. I'm playing. I've been paired with Tiger. I've paired with Nicholson. You know, the risk taker, right? And you're not. Maybe you're more of a strategist. I don't know. But so what do? You start talking. You start getting that into your head. The thing I used to say is also, if I say to you, don't think of a pink giraffe right now, what did you think of? You had to get that picture in your head, or image, or a sense, or whatever, of a pink giraffe, even though it doesn't exist, in my knowledge anyway. So things can get in your head. Your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between positive and negative commands, right? You're basically always feeding information. And like these experiences when you looked at the scorecards going to the Canadian Open, you can react positively or negatively to any situation in life. You can have I mean, we all have that. So you may push a shot and you go, interesting. How did I do that so well? Right? You start to reframe things, and that's kind of the stuff that mental training deals with. The other thing that we train very quickly is, and I know Chris uses this to the last day he pitched, he still did this in preparation for his game. He spent 5 minutes doing a self-hypnosis, if you will, or relaxation exercise that just calmed his nerves. The more he did that, the more it's wired in and became automatic like a trigger. It's so easy to get into that state because you practiced it. If you all, like, just on that note, have you ever done where you, like, just put your hands up behind your head, if you want to try this experiment. And if somebody's got a frozen shoulder, we can deal with that too. Okay, now just bring them down with your hands still clenched. And is your left or right thumb on the top? Just left. Just pay attention. So a lot of you've got your, well, some right, some left. Okay? Now switch it around. How's that feel? Uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now if you were to do this exercise, now just think about this. You do the same kind of movement where the thumb that you're not comfortable having on top, you're going to keep putting it on top. And start doing this about 10 times. Really bring them together with your thumb. The one that's uncomfortable on top. Okay? So opposite what you normally do. Do it maybe faster. You can go faster. And grab it like this. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Okay? And then just do that for a sec. And now bring your hands together again. Yeah? Okay, how many sort of went to the new model versus the old, or how many went back to what they used to do?
I went to the new.
Anybody?
I went to the new one, yeah.
You went to the new? Okay, that's a good example of sort of how you can start to rewire how you actually do things, okay? You've got all of these experiences of being in competition and winning and also not doing well sometimes, or whatever, right? It all goes into our database. When you're in different situations, if you run into a shot that you have to be very creative, or you're in a situation where the wind is doing something, or the crowd is doing something, or all that interference. If you've practiced, and we do this through visualization too, if you've practiced that kind of concept, right, where you start to reprogram the athlete to wire in more positive states, they become as automatic as that finger down the blackboard. And then there's ways also that we rehearse how to get the athlete into the state when they need to be in the state. And with golf, I mean, most of your time is spent in between shots, right? So you don't want to be attentive all the time. So what to do in between? The importance of pre-shot routine and making that very automatic and very systematic, a religion almost. Okay, pre-game routine. What to do in between to get yourself into a state of excellence, into the zone. I happen to go around saying you can get into the zone, not consciously, but you can get into the zone if you know how to manage states. It's not that mythical thing that people say, willing won't do it. I'll tell you right now. Willing yourself into the zone, people heard of the zone, right? Being in the zone. It won't work. So we go through a training of how to get into that state and make it more automatic, and also to use anchors and triggers. Anchors are, you may have heard of the dog experiment, Pavlov's dogs, where they were presented with food. Their leash was so that they couldn't reach the food, and they would salivate, and they measured the amount of salivation, and the experimenter kept doing this, and then eventually the dog they rang a bell at the same time as presenting the food, and pretty soon, with repetition, they just rang the bell, no food, and the dog salivated. So the bell became a trigger, or it got associated with the presentation of food. In sports, you can do the same thing, that when you go back into your experiences of when you made that perfect shot, when you hit that, the drive that you just thought was great, perfect, how you actually dealt with a very difficult situation. The more you rehearse that beforehand, the more you're going to automatically go into that state. And I do that with Jacob through teaching different types of visualization, of actually getting into a state that you're tweaking the same type of muscle memory as if you're actually doing the performance. Okay? How to deal with, I call it cleaning out the locker room, but dealing with the blocks. Some of the things that may be, you repeat doing a thing that you don't want to do when you're faced with certain situations, and how to get rid of those so they no longer are affecting you in how you rewire your neurology. I can go into lots of that, but I think the foundation of what we're learning, what Jacob is learning, is how to relax, the benefits of doing that, of bringing the respiratory system down, being calm, being relaxed, focused. All of those terms we throw around and we don't know what they mean. Like, what's focus, what's confidence, what's relaxed. Is the same, you can't put them in a wheelbarrow and describe them, right? But you can get into those states because you've been in those. Can you remember a time when you were relaxed? Can you remember a time that you were really comfortable or really focused? If you remember a specific time, what were you seeing, hearing, feeling, that kind of thing? You get actually right into the same experience again just by those memories. So learning relaxation, positive self-talk, how to deal with adversity, the power of visualization, and also imagery. The way that you can practice, the minimal amount of time it takes to practice mental training, strategies, and when you run into snags and what to do about them. Those are all the things that we'll keep tweaking, and given the foundation program is done, what I always have with the athlete is they can phone from anywhere throughout the States or wherever they are. I always keep in touch with them so they can phone for I did this, what do you think of this? And I walk them through a scenario that can sometimes deal with something they hadn't experienced before. So there's lots of support that goes behind helping an athlete get to the goals. I forgot to mention as well that